While Colombians will be hoping for a break from the rain, Al Jazeera's weather presenter Richard Angwin explains what's caused the downpours and if the situation is likely to improve in the coming days.
Well, no doubt there are many contributory factors to the disaster which befell the inhabitants of Macau in Colombia. Population growth, infrastructure, denuding of the landscape. But the weather certainly did play a major factor. There's no two ways about it. Now, if we look at the bigger picture, strange things have been going on in the Eastern Pacific. We have had water temperatures at the surface about 3 degrees above what they should be. Now, it's not officially an El Nino. We've only just come off an El Nino, but there's certainly indications that we've got some localized effect going on. And whenever you've got warm water on the surface, it provides energy for big storm clouds. And you only have to take a look at the satellite imagery to see we've had plenty of big storm clouds. It's not just been confined to Colombia, of course. Ecuador has seen some very heavy rain in recent days, and of course Peru has got ongoing flooding problems. Well, we take a look at some of the rainfall values. 83 millimetres. I know it's quite a long way north from the affected area, but nevertheless I think it's fairly typical. Now bear in mind that Colombia's had its wettest March since 2011, and all of a sudden you get a rainfall coming in which is well in excess of what you would expect. The monthly total for April should be about 140 millimetres, and here we are looking at, well, more than half that in the space of 24 hours. Could we see further issues? I think over the next few days it's certainly possible. There are plenty of showers around. There are likely to be plenty of showers continuing in the coming days. Whether or not they actually result in any landslides is another matter, but certainly the risk is there.
The search continued for a second day through piles of debris, stones and meters of mud. But the discoveries were always grim.
We just recovered the body of a young lady. She was 3 or 4 months pregnant. We're taking it to the cemetery to be identified. It's not going to be easy because it was already decomposing.
Towers of water and mud devastated the city of Mocoa. Powers down, the death toll is expected to rise still further. Survivors are digging among the ruins, salvaging what they can of their possessions. Hugo Velasco's pastry business was devastated, but a second-floor apartment was spared. Many neighbors found shelter there.
We saw the neighbours' houses being destroyed and we thought we were also doomed, but thank God, around 1:30 in the morning the water started to recede. It got all the way up to here.
Dozens of people gathered at the door of a city hospital, desperate for information about missing loved ones. Lists have been posted for those confirmed injured or dead.
2 of my sisters, 2 nephews, and my son are missing. I just found out that my wife is here in the hospital and that one of my sisters died. That's all for now.
This used to be the San Miguel neighborhood, completely wiped out by the landslide. And it's easy here to appreciate just the level of the devastation. And that's why at this point, truly nobody among the rescue workers believe they'll be able to find anybody alive. For a second day, President Juan Manuel Santos flew to the disaster area with part of his cabinet.
The process of identifying the bodies has started. We have about 85 bodies to identify, which is a really high number in such circumstances. This is good news in such a tragedy because that's going to help the families claim their loved ones and give them a dignified burial.
The main roads into town were cleared on Sunday and the first water trucks began to reach town. It will take weeks to restore water service and electricity, and even more to bring back a sense of normalcy in a town where the scale of devastation and loss is for many here incomprehensible. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Mocoa.
In southern Colombia, the death toll from last week's massive mudslides has climbed to 290, with more than 300 injured. Officials are now investigating how the disaster in the town of Mocoa might have been prevented. Meanwhile, local authorities have asked the government to dispatch more police and troops to prevent the looting of abandoned homes.
Ingrid Hoyos of Los Pinos neighborhood in Mocoa is coming back to what's left of her house for the first time.
Por miedo, da mucho miedo volver a una parte así.
I was too scared. It's scary being back here. What happened is unbelievable. My son can't even hear the word Mocoa anymore. He has his toys, his bicycle, and knowing nothing's left frightens him.
She survived the devastating mudslide that roared through her community, along with her 4-year-old and her husband, but all their possessions are gone. Los Pinos neighborhood is one of the 17 that has been completely wiped away by the force of the water and the mud.
Y no hay nada más porque es que yo fui para allá abajo.
It has always been a close community, and even now survivors are helping each other recover whatever little they have left. Even the least valuable possession is like a treasure. They say they rely on each other to move on.
Entonces sí, gracias a Dios.
It gives us strength seeing one of our neighbors still alive, even if we lost 4 people from our block. They were children we knew, and it hurt so much knowing how horribly they died. Hopefully they'll be found and receive a proper burial. My son is asking me questions now, and I don't know the answer.
Those who have not moved to government shelters are staying at nearby friends' houses that resisted the fury of the landslide, but are struggling without water and electricity. The government promised emergency relief, rent subsidies for the homeless, and said they will eventually receive new homes in a safe place. But many here doubt the government's ability to deliver. For the first time after 4 days, a Red Cross truck came to the neighborhood. It brought much needed potable water and mattresses, but not enough for everyone.
Let's hope the government will have a firm hand against corruption, and that aid will truly reach communities like ours that suffered the most, and that we can build something good.
What Los Pinos wants the most now is to believe they will not be left alone in their struggle to start all over again. Alessandro Ampieti, Al Jazeera, Mocoa.
¿Ese es nuestro auto? Papá, nos quedamos trabados. Ay, sentí el agua. Ay, pobre ese. Ay, bicicleta. ¡Ah! Casi ni se ve la...
Estaba llenando de agua el escape.
¿A quién? Ay, papá.
A eso le
Autogar le puede llenar de agua. Fiu.
Severe flooding continues in Argentina and Ecuador, with both countries having experienced continuous heavy rainfall for 10 days. In Argentina's southern province of Chubut, more than 2,000 houses have been destroyed and local schools have been closed. The country's central city of Santa Rosa and La Pampa province has also suffered, with 30 blocks of the town underwater. And in La Madrid, a town in the country's northern province of Tucumán, hundreds of families have had to leave their homes. The rainfall is set to continue in the coming days, according to Argentina's meteorological department. Meanwhile, Ecuador has also suffered with flooding, with one child in the country's eastern city of Milagro having drowned.
Swallowed by water, the town of Edgecombe is feeling the wrath of Tropical Storm Debbie. Its 2,000 residents ordered to leave after the Rangitaki River burst its banks.
We had to evacuate. The house is totally flooded now. We're not sure how bad it's going to get. I just got a frantic call from my partner to come home, and my boss said, "Oh, hey, look, they're closing Edgecombe." So I shot over the bridge, and then we had a lot of help from those fellas over there in that riverboat boat.
Many people were caught by surprise. Waters rose quickly, in some areas to as high as 2 meters. Buildings are engulfed. Roads are impassable. The New Zealand Defence Force is helping with rescue operations.
Got a lot of people still in houses at the moment, but we're getting to them. A lot of the locals brought their equipment in, which is really helping out, but yeah, it's all going good.
This is meant to be the tail end of a cyclone which wreaked havoc in Australia last week. In the past few days, it's caused power outages, landslides and now severe flooding in New Zealand. Meteorologists in both countries describe it as a once in 500 years event. Gerald Tan, Al Jazeera.
To the severe weather threat, the watch is up at this hour after deadly storms already. A state of emergency in Louisiana, tens of thousands without power in Georgia, and tornado watches all the way up to North Carolina for much of this day. This twister in Louisiana, watch it lifting up a car there in the background, then dropping it back down. Powerful winds destroying this gas station in Alexandria, Louisiana. And tonight we're watching heavy rains and a flood watch reaching all the way to the northeast. A very tough night ahead. ABC's Gio Benitez in the storm zone.
Tonight, severe storms packing high winds, sending this tarp flying off a baseball field in Phoenix City, Alabama, injuring a player, even lifting the roof right off this fire station in Carroll County, Georgia, and whipping through Atlanta, a ground stop at the city's airport. This weekend near Alexandria, Louisiana,
so we're inside the tornado right now.
Storm chasers driving right into this apparent tornado. In Lafayette, an auto shop surveillance cameras capturing vehicles flipping over.
Over the last 24 hours here in Louisiana, we've seen at least 10 reported tornadoes, including an EF1 with 110-mile-per-hour winds that just tore apart this home.
Tragically, a mother and her 3-year-old daughter killed here in Breaux Bridge. The storms claiming at least 6 lives in all, including a 52-year-old woman who drowned after a flooded creek swept away her car near Jackson, Mississippi.
There were so many streets flooded, we didn't have enough barricades or enough people to cover them all.
She called 911, but soon lost contact with the operator.
And David, there is a threat for more severe storms tomorrow and Wednesday along the Gulf Coast, so residents there just have to be prepared. David.
All right, Gio, our thanks to you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee. She's tracking this all the way up the East Coast into the Northeast. Concerns tonight as well, Ginger.
That's right, for flooding, and we'll get to that. David, more than 300 severe storm reports in less than 48 hours. Many of the tornado reports from central Georgia today. But look at where those watches are in place, from North Carolina down to that tornado watch in the Florida Panhandle. So still doing this for the next couple of hours. And then that low starts to move to the north and east. And that's the first of many rounds of heavy rain that'll move places like New York City and bring some potential for flash flooding by the weekend, with all of that, of course, melting snow. And that threat Gio just mentioned, Tuesday into Wednesday, Atlanta's in it again. David.
All right, thinking of our friends in the South tonight, Ginger Zee, our thanks to you.
Severe weather is a threat today from South Carolina to New Jersey. And in the Northeast, it's still called that. Flood watches and warnings are in effect. Mark Strausman is in Weston, Georgia, where a reported twister tore through several buildings. Mark, good morning.
Good morning. When the manager of this agriculture store heard bad weather was heading this way, he sent home all of his employees just in case. A good thing, because 90 minutes later, the storm was here, and this is what the business looked like. Our twister ripped through this rural area, and whatever it hit with punishing power.
Big tornado, big tornado.
Tornadoes, hail, flash floods, and high winds caused damage from the deep south to the Midwest on Wednesday. At least 9 reported twisters touched down, one destroying several buildings in South Georgia.
The top on the home house started peeling off. So we knew it was a very serious storm.
High winds toppled trees and crushed this pickup truck and a mobile home.
It could be much worse. I'm very thankful that it's not.
Hailstones, some as large as baseballs, pounded neighborhoods, even peeling the paint off homes. Along Atlanta's Peachtree Creek, this truck became trapped in rising floodwaters. 5 city workers were stranded, and first responders used rafts to rescue them. Drenching rains caused flash flooding near Columbia, South Carolina. Whoa! Lightning struck across the region and is believed to be responsible for starting several house fires.
Everything I know of is damaged in there. They said almost thinking salvage anything.
We are asking you to evacuate the grounds.
At the Masters Golf Tournament in Augusta, the severe weather caused the cancellation of Wednesday's par 3 contest for the first time ever and forced hundreds of people to leave. 2 people were hurt, but no one was killed by these storms. But the impact was felt north at Atlanta's airport, where hundreds of stranded travelers had to spend the night. The local forecast is clear the rest of this week. Good news for the Masters tournament at Augusta, Georgia, for all the players and all the fans watching them compete. Nora?
Absolutely, Mark. Thank you so much.